We've got 49ers quarterback news. They have opened the practice window for Kurtis Rourke, their rookie 7th-round pick, who played through a torn ACL at Indiana last year. I know that Indiana is the toast of college football right now after winning the Big Ten championship against Ohio State. Well, the Hoosier, Kurtis Rourke, is now at practice. Now, don't expect the 49ers to activate Rourke to play in a game this season. They simply want to redshirt him, and they've got a 21-day practice window now that he's coming off of the non-football injury list. Last season, Kurtis Rourke played for Indiana with a torn ACL. This guy is very, very tough, but the 49ers have wanted to make sure that that injury is fully healed. And, of course, having Brock Purdy and Mac Jones at the top of the quarterback room, delivering a historic season at the top of the quarterback room, gives them the luxury of redshirt time with Kurtis Rourke. Mike texted me the other day. He said he was watching some Indiana film of Kurtis and reminded him of Kirk Cousins, which is a big compliment. He's a guy who could distribute the football, and obviously the toughness is off the charts since he was able to play with that torn ACL in the 2024 college season. 49ers quarterback room, by the way, I mean, what they are doing right now, they've got Brock Purdy ranked number 5 in the EPA CPOE completion percentage over expectation composite. They got Mac Jones at number 11. 2 QBs in the top 11 for the 49ers. On top of that, consider the fact that both Purdy and Jones have led road wins over top 10 all-time DVOA teams to this point of the season. That's where both the Seattle Seahawks and the Los Angeles Rams rank. Consider the fact that the 49ers have 2 separate quarterbacks to lead road wins against teams that good. And that's what's allowed San Francisco to still be in this NFC West race. I mean, they're just a whisker away from the top of the NFC West. They've got a chance at the 1 seed, and a lot of that is thanks to the epic work from the quarterback room that we've seen in San Francisco. This is the beach out here at Cabo. But Kurtis Rourke, what a great opportunity for him to learn from those QBs. Also, Adrian Martinez is part of that room for the 49ers. Rourke has already been in meetings for San Francisco all season long. And, you know, one of the things when you talk to all these guys, Brock, Mac, Adrian, and Kurtis, they're all around the same age. These guys are all in their mid-20s, and they all get along. And I think that's really helped everyone's development. I think it's helped the collaboration in the room, the sharing of ideas. So it's been a great redshirt opportunity already for Kurtis Rourke, and now he's going to be able to get on that field for San Francisco. Look, we got some horses on the beach behind me here in Mexico. Take a look at some of them. Looks like we got some frat guys riding on the horses. They're going to be in the background of our 49ers video here. I don't know if I should get in the water. They've got the red flags out. That means there's probably strong undercurrents. Probably not the type of situation that is going to be as conducive for good swimming as the San Francisco Bay, although it will be much warmer. Anyway, we got so much to talk about. Not just the 49ers quarterback room, but also just the sheer insanity of where the 49ers are, the chance that they have moving forward. All right. Well, now we can get to the live portion of this. Lighting not quite as good here from the balcony as it was out on the beach, but I can't really set up on the beach, especially while the horses out there. I just don't think that the reception on the beach good enough. So the 49ers, they've got that movement in the quarterback room. Shout out to the 49ers. They did not open practice today, so I did not have to be back in Santa Clara. It was a bonus practice, but Kurtis Rourke did practice, and Vic Tafur actually got good video of Kurtis Rourke essentially confirming what I was saying, that this is to prepare Kurtis for next season. Take a look.
Just playing football again. I mean, it's been over a year pretty much since I last played and was able to practice fully, and so it's just awesome to be out there and be able to be with the guys and get on that schedule, and then be able to translate what I've been learning so much in the classroom to on the field.
Do you think that this puts you in a good spot, like, momentum-wise, for next year, for the off-season program and kind of establishing yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's why I was excited to get the practice window open this season, because any type of practice, any type of work will prepare me for next year, and that's ultimately the goal, is to help the team in whatever way possible, and being available is the best thing.
That is Kurtis Rourke verifying that the practice window this year, it's about next season for him. It's a bona fide redshirt year for Kurtis Rourke. You know, what's going on right now in Indiana, Fernando Mendoza is probably going to win the Heisman Trophy. That's obviously a Bay Area connection, because Fernando was the quarterback of Cal last season, goes over to Indiana, lights the world on fire. That is a hell of a program that Frank Cignetti is running. They were already good last year with Kurtis Rourke. They've taken it another level. It is not a bad idea for John Lynch and company to build a pipeline to the University of Indiana and draft their talent. And the 49ers, they drafted 2 Indiana Hoosiers in 2025, Rourke and CJ West, the big defensive tackle whom they got a lot earlier in the draft. What was he? A 4th round pick for the 49ers. And CJ is starting to get bigger and bigger playing time opportunities for the 49ers. Over 30 snaps a game now. I think he's been a big part of holding that 49ers run defense together. I'm currently working on the big defensive breakdown for the 49ers on the San Francisco Standard. You saw the piece on the offense yesterday. I mentioned some offensive statistics with the quarterbacks a little bit earlier today. One defensive piece of news that we're going to be looking for either this week or next week, or just in general very soon, is the potential return of Yetur Gross-Matos. I don't think that people understand on the casual level how good Yetur Gross-Matos has been as a pass rusher this year when he's been available. The health has obviously been the issue for Yetur, but he's the 49ers' highest graded pass rusher, tied there with Bryce Huff. That's PFF grade. Nick Bosa at 80.3 in the time that he was available for the ACL tear. 49ers might open up Yetur Gross-Matos' practice window when the Wednesday practice rolls around. So keep an eye out for him, because that's going to be a potentially big piece for the 49ers defense. Yesterday, I went live after the morning window. I went live after the afternoon window. I did not go live after the night game. Lombardi herself is here, so we're having a good time in Mexico. I decided we can talk about the Chiefs' downfall on Monday. Patrick Mahomes yesterday was worse than Brock Purdy was in the de facto elimination game against the Rams last season. It was, I believe that was week 14 last season, Thursday Night Football. 49ers lost to the Rams. It's when Devondre Campbell walked off the field. And, a lot of people are saying, oh, the terrible performance from Purdy. Just to put things into perspective, Patrick Mahomes scored significantly worse across every single simple and advanced metric yesterday, as the Chiefs lost what was probably an elimination game. They're not totally dead yet, but 3 interceptions for Mahomes. We should sit here talking for hours about how he can't drive the football downfield, because those, that second pick, especially the one where he went deep, that was an ugly, ugly pass. And then even the one to Travis Kelce, who seems washed now, who might be on his way to retirement on a bad note, but even the one that Kelce was thrown behind him. And, the reason that I bring this up is because it's the standard that so many of these idiotic comments have set for the quarterback position, because they have been focused on Brock Purdy to an insane level. Like, we've talked about it so much over the course of the past few weeks, especially since the Panthers game, but the online discourse has acted like Brock Purdy is the only quarterback in NFL history to throw interceptions. Yet yesterday I watched Joe Burrow throw 2 picks on 2 straight plays that lost the game for the Cincinnati Bengals. I saw Matthew Stafford turn the ball over 3 times the week before to lose the game against the Carolina Panthers. And I saw Patrick Mahomes in an ultimate choke job with the season probably on the line for Kansas City, throwing 3 interceptions at home against the Houston Texans. So, my controversial point, controversial, I'll put in quotes here, was that all quarterbacks throw picks. I think that point is not so controversial anymore. And, we can look at the quarterback rankings now for this season. And I mentioned this at the Kurtis Rourke discussion at the top. This is the quality of the 49ers quarterback room. Brock Purdy is ahead of Matthew Stafford, ahead of Patrick Mahomes, ahead of Goff, ahead of Daniel Jones, who unfortunately tore his Achilles, ahead of Dak Prescott. Brock Purdy's in the top 5 with the body of work that he's put on this season. That's expected points added and completion percentage above expectation. We're using the smart stats for this because obviously Purdy's sample size is smaller than other quarterbacks given the turf toe injury. The real kicker here, though, as you can see in the rankings, and I've highlighted the two 49ers quarterbacks, is that Mac Jones is ranked in the top 11. The 49ers have 2 QBs in the top 11 of the composite score that I think most accurately is going to give you quarterback quality. Now, QBR, I don't have Brock Purdy's exact QBR because he doesn't have enough snaps to qualify yet, but he's going to be probably top 6 at least in QBR, maybe top 5. Mac, I think, is either 10 or 11. So this is generally reflective of QBR, which is also really good. But I don't know when the last time was that a team had 2 quarterbacks ranked this highly. This may be the first time. One of the stories of the season is this, what's up on your screen right now. The 49ers have one of the best quarterback rooms that we have ever seen. And, they're dealing with 2 teams who through 14 weeks or 13 games are ranked as 2 of the best teams in NFL history. As you can see here, the Seattle Seahawks and the Rams are bolded. This is DVOA. This is comparing some of the best teams ever scored by DVOA, one of the advanced metrics through this point of the season. The Patriots, who went undefeated until the Super Bowl, are ranked number 1. The 2023 49ers, who unfortunately couldn't finish it off with a Super Bowl, are ranked number 5. Seattle and LA are both in the top 10 at 10 and 3. So these are 2 of the best teams we've ever seen through 13 weeks. Yet San Francisco, the 49ers, have been able to stay within a whisker of those 2 teams. And they've also notched 2 road wins over the Seahawks and over the Rams. And I think it's symbolically beautiful that Brock Purdy led one of those road wins shorthanded without George Kittle against the Seahawks, a top 10 all-time DVOA team through 13 weeks. And then we've seen Mac Jones lead a road win over the Rams, another top 10 DVOA all-time team with an absolute skeleton crew in week 5. So it has taken both of these quarterbacks. While, the casuals have argued Brock Purdy or Mac Jones, and I mean, it was just an idiotic argument to begin with because Purdy's obviously the QB1. He obviously brings more of a ceiling, but it hasn't been about Brock Purdy versus Mac Jones. If you've actually been in the 49ers building, if you actually know what's going on and you talk to the staff and you talk to the players and you talk to the front office, then you know that Brock Purdy's QB1, and you know that the 49ers are tremendously blessed to have Mac Jones as QB2. And the proof is in the pudding, right up on the screen. The 49ers have 2 of the top 11 quarterbacks by efficiency this year. Mac Jones may finish ranked higher than Patrick Mahomes as the 49ers QB2. And the greatest illustration of the power of the quarterback room that the 49ers have on the field lies through the fact that they have wins on the road over Seattle and over LA. And that's given the 49ers the opportunity to win the West, maybe even get the 1 seed, and then only have home games standing in between them and a Lombardi trophy. And I mean, there have been several facets of the team to credit for this. It's been an ultimate team effort, but the most important position, the area where it starts, is that QB spot. And as you can see here, the 49ers have just been excelling there. And that's what I wanted to focus on over the course of this video, because we did open it talking about Kurtis Rourke joining that 49ers quarterback room. At practice, it already does feature Purdy, Jones, Adrian Martinez, and now a 4th Kurtis Rourke. He will not be activated unless there is an injury, and even then the 49ers may not activate Kurtis Rourke this season. We have 60 days until Super Bowl 60, by the way. Let that soak in. I'm going to make a big video tomorrow before we leave Mexico, before we leave Cabo, about the 49ers path forward. But if the Packers or if the Packers and the Rams both lose at least one more game, well, they each have to lose. And I think that the next 2 weeks are the most likely for losses for the Packers and the Rams. Both of those teams lose at least one more game, and the 49ers win their next 3, and they're going to be favored in the next 3. That is the Titans, the Colts without Daniel Jones, and the Chicago Bears. Then that January 4th game at Levi Stadium against Seattle is going to be for the 1 seed. And, it would really be a follow-up of the 2019 season game for the 1 seed, right? Winner, number 1, loser, probably number 5, maybe even lower, depending on where the Rams are at. But there's going to be a ton on the line. Week 18 at Levi Stadium, assuming that those things happen. But if the 49ers get to that point, they would be 4 home wins away from a Lombardi trophy, not from the Super Bowl, from actually hoisting the Lombardi trophy. That's how exciting this stretch run is lining up to be. By the way, Jauan Jennings spoke in the 49ers locker room today. Let's have a listen. Good video here from Matt Barrows. Jauan, for the first time, asked about Shelby Harris and the trash talking that he did at Cleveland that obviously drew the ire of the Cleveland Browns.
Everybody get some good rest recovery over the week.
Oh, great, much needed. I'm just glad to be back to Bros, though.
What was your reaction to what some of the Browns players said, and what was your side of that?
I thought it was just a lot of talk, honestly. I think they wanted some attention. That's about it.
Do you think that what you said went over a line, or is it just sort of what is said during breaks like that?
I mean, he said some things, so why ain't saying what he said? So I don't know, bro. I do know it ain't that bad. That's what I do know. I'm gonna just keep to myself with what I said, but I know it wasn't that bad, and he knows that. It's funny, and so I mean, if he sees me to smack me, maybe I'll find out that day.
Do you feel like opponents try to trigger you because you're so physical? Is there a lot of chirping between plays?
It's always been like that, I mean, I'm a physical guy, like I said a couple weeks ago. I'm always playing hard in between the whistles, and I said me between the whistles because, even refs, sometimes they don't like the way I play. So, I go out there and play my style each and every day, and that's what I'm going to continue to do.
Outside of the Cleveland game in general, what is sort of your line for what can and can't be said smack talk-wise between players?
Killing people. You shouldn't say you're going to kill someone. You know what I'm saying? That to me, that's where you draw the line.
Have you heard that?
That's going to get killed? I mean, come on. It's a violent sport. And I've been playing football for, 20-some years? Of course. I done heard that walking down the street.
Is there an element to your trash talk that is strategic to try to get guys off their game?
I think it just comes back from just how I grew up, man. Underdog mentality. The kid always comes in, 5-star recruit, gets told he's going to win, and then, meets the underdog. Yeah.
Kid comes in, he's the 5-star recruit, thinks he's going to win, and then he meets the underdog. That's Jauan Jennings been the underdog his whole life, and that continues into the 49ers era where he was a 7th-round draft pick. I think even in college, I mean, the guy's never been a burner, right? The guy's never been a 4.3 receiver. He ran a 4.7. And that was part of the reason why he slid all the way down to the 7th round. But he's found a way at every single level to get it done. I mean, I wrote a big article about Jauan Jennings and his high school days at Blackman High School in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. He played quarterback there. He's a dual threat. There was a game where his team was down, I think, 31 points late 3rd quarter, maybe early 4th quarter, but late in the game, to where a lot of fans left early. And they broadcast those games on the radio in Tennessee, at least the Blackman High School game in Tennessee. And one of the people that was in attendance at that game said that he was driving down the freeway listening, and he listened to the Jauan Jennings miracle comeback. He led his high school, just put them on his back, led them all the way back, would not allow them to lose. And they won by 1. Came from down 31 or 32 points. The college tenure of Jauan Jennings, I mean, there was so many different chapters to that. He got kicked off the team, but everybody respected him so much that he was welcomed back to the team because he basically put up a Instagram video or a social media video trashing a coach that everybody in the program seemed to hate. So then when that coach was fired, everybody walked into the office of the new coach and said, hey, Jauan needs to be back on the football team. At Tennessee, he also willed the Volunteers to victory. I mean, they had that famous game against Georgia where Josh Dobbs, the former 49ers quarterback, threw the Hail Mary and Jauan Jennings caught it at the end. You talk to anybody from Tennessee and they will swear by Jauan Jennings' name and say, this guy's awesome. We love Jauan Jennings. I mean, he's just part of the culture at the University of Tennessee. Ever since he's joined the 49ers, he's willed the team to victories. Like it's happened multiple times. One could now even argue, especially given what we know, what's happened, that the 49ers should have paid Jauan Jennings and not Brandon Ayuk. He would have been a whole lot more reliable than Brandon Ayuk, somebody who was already showing red flags before they paid him, but they ended up paying him. And boy, the red flags have turned into all parade here, right? And Jennings doesn't have the same movement talent as Brandon Ayuk, and Ayuk obviously the more explosive receiver. I'm not saying they should have ever paid Jennings $30 million a year, but it probably is unfortunate now looking back on it, and maybe the 49ers will be able to rectify the situation this offseason. But it's unfortunate that they couldn't get Jauan Jennings locked up under a longer term deal because they were saving some of that money for Brandon Ayuk. Now that they've been able to get away from some of the 2026 guarantees of Brandon Ayuk and will almost certainly move on from him, maybe that increases the chances of Jauan Jennings being re-signed, taking some of the money that they freed up in that situation. But the guy helps you win football games, period. He's a great blocker. And one of the wonderful things about Jauan Jennings is the way that he's just able to so thoroughly piss off opposing teams. I mean, this is football. This is not about protecting people's feelings out on the football field. This is about doing whatever it takes within the legality of the game to win. And I still remember Rayshon Jenkins back in 2021 on the Jags at the time, losing his cool and earning a 15-yard penalty thanks to Jauan Jennings, who didn't do anything illegal, but obviously said enough to Rayshon Jenkins to get him to lose his temper in front of the officials, shoved Jauan Jennings in the face, and it helped the 49ers win the football game. Remember that Rayshon is now with the Browns. So I think there's a non-zero chance that there's a carryover from that 2021 Jacksonville game onto the field this past week against Cleveland, where Jauan absolutely got under the skin of Shelby Harris and the Browns, and maybe Rayshon was part of that. But Jauan has a reputation, and if this reputation is helping him make grown men lose their minds to a competitive disadvantage and by extension, a competitive advantage for the 49ers, then whatever Jauan Jennings is doing is something the 49ers want him to keep on doing. And that's why you hear John Lynch saying what he does. What Kyle Shanahan is saying, they're saying, yeah, Jauan just plays really physically and he pisses other teams off. I could care less what he says on the field. And you heard Jauan, his limit is, well, I'm not going to talk about killing anyone. That's where the line is drawn. There's a lot more that could be said up until that line that Jauan Jennings might be saying on the field. But if professionals cannot hold their cool, then it's advantage 49ers. And there's a reason that they've won way more games than they have lost while Jauan Jennings has been on the field. And that's because the guy's part of a winning culture for San Francisco. So respect to Jauan Jennings. I think that trash talk in NFL history has probably been even much worse than what Jauan has said on the field. But I do think that players in general are much softer now than they used to be. And these guys get all up in their feelings when a 7th round pick like Jauan Jennings is able to, a lot of them are former 5-star recruits. A lot of them highly paid NFL players. It just doesn't seem that they can handle it. Doesn't seem that they're ready for the more rough around the edges approach. But as I just illustrated, it's worked for Jauan Jennings from high school to college at Tennessee, now to the pros. And maybe, just maybe, there's going to be a piece of the Brandon Ayuk money pie that has been freed up by the voiding of those guarantees and the very likely either release or trade of Brandon Ayuk this coming off season. Maybe some of that can be used to reward Jauan Jennings in San Francisco. All right, so we've got the big articles up on the San Francisco Standard. We've got the standings up on the YouTube channel as well. We'll take Jauan off for now. We'll go to here. Tonight, we've got the Eagles and the Chargers playing. Really, really important game, even though it's cross-conference. But the Eagles are currently 8-4. The Chargers up here are also 8-4. So it's important for positioning in both conferences. It's Jim Harbaugh's Los Angeles Chargers, by the way. But say that the Eagles lose this game. That gives the 49ers, as they pursue the NFC's number 1 seed, a little bit more breathing room. Like as of right now, the 49ers are already ahead of Philadelphia. They've got a better conference record. Philadelphia is 7-3. That's the tiebreaker. The 49ers are 8-2 in NFC play. 49ers are 9-4 overall. Philadelphia is 8-4. But if the Eagles do win, they move to 9-4 with a conference record of 7-3. It will stay the same because they play the Chargers. So they'll be in a tie with the 49ers in the 1 seed race that may end up being inconsequential because you don't know what's going to happen at the top. The Niners obviously need the Rams and the Packers to lose. But, breathing room is breathing room. You always want that. And I think it's funny to say, since the Eagles are going to be playing tonight, if the postseason began today, like right now, the 49ers would actually be headed to Philadelphia for the wild card round. So all of these games that you watch through December and then on January 4th, I think that you can watch them with the subtext that if it's an NFC playoff contender, there's a chance the 49ers are going to play that NFC team in the postseason. Go back to this. Do you see the number 4 seed, Tampa Bay, right now? The 4 seed is going to play the 5 seed in the first round of the playoffs. The 4 seed will host the 5 seed. So right now, the 1 obviously gets the bye. Right now, if the playoffs started today, the Packers would host the Bears in the wild card round. The Eagles would host the 49ers. So you have 2-7, 3 host 6, and the Bucks would host the Seahawks 4-5. But say that the 49ers move up to number 5, and the numbers say that they're more likely to end up as the number 5 seed than anything else right now. They would then play, in all likelihood, the winner of the NFC South. And the Bucks are 7-6 right now. But remember that the Carolina Panthers are also 7-6. And the Bucks lost yesterday. The Panthers have been winning football games. They even beat the Rams recently. So the Panthers are one of those Jekyll and Hyde teams. Lost by 2 possessions against the 49ers, then turned around and beat the Rams. Go figure the next week. That just shows you how much parity there is in this league. But there's non-zero chance that the 49ers, as the 5 seed, play Carolina to open the playoffs, or could go to Tampa Bay if the Bucks find a way to turn this around and hold off the Panthers. They currently have the tiebreaker. There's also a possibility that the 49ers, as the 6 seed, go to a place like Philadelphia, or if Green Bay falls, then the place like Green Bay to open the playoffs. Like all of this is on the table right now, which makes the final month of this regular season so compelling. Now you could avoid everything altogether in the wild card round if you get to the 1 seed. And that's why the 49ers have about an 11.8% chance to get to the 1 seed. That's why that is something they should pursue with all of their hearts. Now, maybe they reach week 18 and it's no longer possible. There also is a world, Mike was mentioning it today, in week 18 where the 49ers actually rest players against the Seahawks because there's no seeding to improve for San Francisco, and they're going to be a wild card regardless. And in that case, that takes a lot of steam out of that 49ers Seahawks game. But again, if the Rams lose and if the Green Bay Packers lose at least once between now and the end of the regular season, the 49ers, all they'd have to do is win these next 3 to set up a hell of a showdown against the Seahawks in week 18. The 49ers essentially control their own destiny in passing every single team on this list ahead of them. Seattle, Tampa Bay, Philadelphia, except for the Packers and the Rams, except for the top 2 seeds. That's where you need help. You need help from the Rams, whose schedule is intriguing to say the least over the course of the next couple weeks. They play the Lions and the Seahawks next Sunday and Thursday. And then the Packers, well, I think the Packers can also lose because they play the Broncos, and then they have a rematch in Chicago against the Bears, whom they narrowly beat yesterday. So maybe Chicago gets a little bit of a boost when they get to play the Packers again the second time in 3 weeks. So 49ers up to 6. Movement in the quarterback room. Kurtis Rourke is now aboard for San Francisco. I think later tonight we'll do a night show. Maybe we'll get some night lights behind us here in Cabo. We'll do a reaction to the Eagles against Jim Harbaugh's Chargers. Could be some more good news for the 49ers in that NFC playoff picture. Christian McCaffrey, by the way, ranks number 3 overall in Pro Bowl votes, and Kyle Juszczyk is number 8. The 49ers have top 10 Pro Bowl vote getters at multiple different positions. Christian McCaffrey is number 1 at running back. Kyle Juszczyk is number 1 at fullback. Trent Williams is number 2 at tackle. Luke Gifford is number 6 in the specialist voting. He's been good on special teams. George Kittle is number 7 at tight end. Sky Moore, I think he should rank higher, but he ranks number 7 at returner. Eddie Pinheiro is number 7 at kicker. We'll see if Eddie returns this week. We'll get Eddie Yetur Gross-Matos news on Wednesday, so stay tuned for that after the off day Tuesday. John Weeks, the 49ers 40-year-old long snapper, is he 39 or is he 40? He might have turned 40 already. I don't want to get that wrong. People get mad if you make them 40 before they're 40 years old. So we'll check that in a second. But he's 7th in the long snapper voting, and Jair Brown is 8th in free safety voting after his 2-interception game against the Carolina Panthers. As promised, we're looking up John Weeks' exact age. He's still 39. I apologize to John Weeks for prematurely aging him to 40. He's 39 years old. He turns 40 on February 17th. So he's still a couple months shy of that 40th birthday. I'm in Cabo. I want to go get some more sun right now, but I'm happy to answer a few questions before I do so. Then I think it's going to be time to get some lunch here in Cabo. So let's answer any questions that there might be. Then maybe I could hold out the camera for the end of this show out on The View, because we started the show with The View and we can end the show with The View. No, Shanahan's not having a conference call. The 49ers did not play a game. It's a bye week. He only does the conference call the day after a game. I will not have to travel further this week since the Titans are at home. I live in San Francisco during the season. We have the place in Nashville, but that's where I'm at in the off season. So we're actually flying to San Francisco tomorrow. It's a player's day off for the 49ers here from Cabo. So it's going to be about 2.5 hours here from Cabo to San Francisco, and then the practice week ahead of the game against the Titans. So here's the thing. Are the burritos better in Cabo or the Mission District? I think San Francisco burritos are better because I think burritos are, especially the super burrito, is a Mexican-American food. It was developed really the way that we know it in the Mission in San Francisco. I would think that Mexican food in general is better in Mexico, but the burrito in particular, I'm going to say that it's better in San Francisco. What's Juice's status? I know that he was in Montana for the bye week, and he has got the fractured rib. I'm going to get the full update on Kyle Juszczyk for you tomorrow. All right, I think it's time that we take a look at the view here. So let me move out this way. Oh, the camera is going to try to follow me. I see how that is. Oh, we'll hold it up here then. Yeah, the camera is definitely going to follow me. Look, the lighting is much better if I did that. Look, we got a little day bed right here. The day bed opens up to the great view. I guess if those of you who are familiar with the TV show Westworld, I only watched like the first part of the first season, but seasons 3 and 4, I guess, are shot here at the Viceroy in Cabo. And there's a glass little partition, by the way, here, so I can't jump off into the shallow water below me. But it's a very futuristic kind of setup, right? Westworld, I could definitely see Westworld filming here. So those of you familiar with the show, you're probably saying, that looks familiar. Well, this is why. Because it actually was in the TV show. All right, guys, that's going to be it for me. Wanted to end on a cool note, so we'll talk to everybody soon.